We're live. All right. Woohoo, we're back.
About time.
It is about time. It's been a while. This time is the day after, so we're not doing this until the day after the episode aired. That's not really like a normal thing, but it's how we're doing it this week, and that's working. And yeah, this one was on him.
My bad.
Hey, we're just glad to be back, having both of us here, and because last week it was just solo, and I know you guys legitimately said that you guys missed Dylan and were excited. There were a couple
I
people that
think
were in the
it was
chat.
only Mad who was missing me.
Hey,
I missed you too.
hey, but you know what? I mean, that was a good ratio based on how many people we had last week. So I fully expect to probably just be on our own tonight because I didn't pre-schedule the stream out. So we were. Oh, I can hear that
Sorry, backlash.
audio backlash. But yeah, I didn't pre-schedule the stream or anything because I wasn't entirely sure the time that we were going to be on. But we're here, and if you guys join during, that's awesome. If you guys are watching after the fact at all, that's awesome too. Yeah, so I know that last week was our first week back, and I was on my own last week. The 2 weeks prior, we didn't have anyone. So I kind of want to go over anything with you. I know you weren't prepared to cover any previous episodes, so if you don't have anything, that's fine. I didn't know if there was anything over the last couple weeks that stood out to you that you really wanted to talk about. I know there was something I had in mind earlier, and then I completely forgot about it.
These are the things you let me know before stream.
Yes, I know.
These are the things.
I kind of
would have
wanted to
a
keep
list.
you. I know. I kind of wanted to keep you on your toes a little bit.
Okay.
Because there was something that stood out to me last week that I was like, I really wanted to say something to get your.
The 2 weeks that we were gone, who went home?
Okay, so we had. I gotta remember. Last week. I got it.
Last week was Ellie. I remember
Ellie.
that. And she went home. I did have a couple notes from that, but it kind of bleeds into today, so I want to leave that one alone. I'm trying to think. There was nothing crazy that stuck out between those other two, which is so sad because we literally can ramble on for an hour and a half about this game when it's live. But when
I know it was, we had some.
Who was the one before? Just out of curiosity, like, do you know who it was?
I'm trying to go back and remember. This is horrible.
I know it was Ellie.
I know it was Ellie the week before. Oh my goodness. This is terrible. Anyway, if anything pops up, we'll go over because there was something that I was wanting right before the stream.
I know who it was. I know who it was. It was the blonde person from Coco.
We
did not get to talk about that episode, and I was sad.
I know. I cannot remember her name.
That was a really good episode, and that was the first one we missed, and that was a really, really good episode. Let me look it up because genuinely, like, I have the pictures of all their names. She was from Coco. Her name.
Most unprofessional stream we've ever done, but that's fine.
You know what? Genuinely, it doesn't matter.
I blur the lines. Like I try and be professional with these. I like to have some type of showmanship, and then sometimes there's this
Lindsay.
Lindsay. That's yes.
Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was funny because the week before, I put Lindsay as the person that was in the best position. Her game was screwed up by herself and nobody else. That was my standout from everything. It's very similar to when you say, I have all this experience in the game. I have all this, like, it's like you're showing up to an interview and saying, I have all the qualifications first day on the job, and you just crap your pants.
Yeah.
It was fantastic up until she physically had to go to tribal council, and the second tribal council happened, I was really sad that we missed that episode because up to this point, that was the best episode so far.
I know, and I'm not sure if it was the episode. First off, I want to say hi to Crazy Mad because he's in the chat. We're so glad you're able to stop by legit because I didn't know I wasn't able to pre-schedule the stream, so I didn't know if he'd be able to make it by. But we're happy to have you here.
From the very beginning, I say your name.
Yep, he did. So go rewind or go watch it after the fact, and then you hear. But I can't remember if it was the week before or the week before the merge, not last week, but the week before that, or the one before.
We're still not in merge, by the way. We are not at merge. The tribes are together, It is not considered merge.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, we're to the merge, but um, the I know. Okay, so there are two things over the past couple weeks.
Okay.
And if I can find what the date was, that was October 19th. What day was October 19th? That was
October 19th.
okay. So that was the first week that we missed. So that
That was
was
that was Lindsay's episode,
okay. So
and
well,
then
then
we.
who was after Lindsay? I don't think it was Lindsay.
Oh shoot! No, I
Maybe it
missed.
was her and then someone else. That's fine. So I'll just say this, okay, and see if it rings any bells and what your thought was on it. So we had it was on October 19th. So it was the week before I came back. So the second one that we missed was before the merge, and we had Vessi helping Baka. Do you remember that?
Oh, fantastic! That was the one that genuinely, because that was when Coco didn't have any players. That is Lindsay's tribal. Okay,
Yes.
that was the whole
Yes.
reason Lindsay went to tribal council.
Yes.
It was a very good moment. I really don't think it was all that, like, they made a huge deal about it, but genuinely I don't think it was anything more than Coco up to that point had won all of the rewards. They had won all of the big stuff. That's why they were stolen from in that episode. And then immediately, like, when a puzzle came up, they were tag teamed on. So
Hmm.
genuinely yes, it was good for the gameplay. I kind of definitely agree with it that it
So,
needed to
well,
happen. Oh, go
so
ahead.
no, you go ahead. I asked you a question. Keep going.
I agree that it needed to happen, but I don't necessarily agree with the team's teaming. But it's within the rules. There were several things tonight, or sorry, yesterday, that as I was like listening to the rules and watching people play the game, I started seeing game players in the challenges more than I'm seeing game players outside of the actual challenges. And
Mhm.
so I'll get into that later tonight. But there are some game players that are metaing the game inside of some challenges that are really really good.
Yes, I'm definitely excited to talk about some of the stuff from tonight. I will say and I'm not going to say it's something that I really thought of, but it did kind of flash my mind. Anytime something like that occurs, it's something outside of what we normally see, my first thought is this within the rules of the game? And there's nothing saying that it's not. Not a thing.
Nothing
Completely fair. And I
has
think
happened has
Mhm.
happened before.
has
Has
happened.
happened.
Has happened. And I know it's not the same, but the first thought that I think of that reminds me of this is JT giving Russell his idol. That's it, not in the same capacity, definitely not, but it is the first like thing that pops in my head when I think of something at all similar.
Between
Um,
tribes.
yeah,
Between
between
tribes
tribes
helping each other.
at a comp, yeah, at a competition
Yeah.
and stuff. Um, but I don't think it's not against the rules, so I don't think that I wouldn't have done it if I was them
Oh,
because not because and I agree with your reasoning. The other one, they had won a bunch of stuff. I don't think that purely from the sake of you're about to go into a merge here soon, and it looks like you are allied with that other tribe. And at that point, Coco was the strongest.
yep.
So I don't like in general. I just don't think it's that good of a move because I feel like whether or not you guys are aligned with them. I mean, obviously you're not. They know that you're not. They know that you couldn't have been,
Yep.
but it might give them a reason to, or maybe. And I'm not thinking of like the actual people, so I'm just going off hypothetically. But you've had it maybe had enough people that have gone together from those other tribes to
Yep.
Mystery Island that could have started stirring stuff up. So in general, I don't think it's the best idea because I feel like it is showing a potential alliance that doesn't even exist, but
Yep.
it could set yourself up
The
pretty bad in the
The
future.
only thing that I can say to the gameplay of that is at the time, Vessi had 4 people and Baka had 5. And at the time, Coco had 6. Vesey was the one who extended the olive branch with Noella, basically saying like, "Hey," and I don't remember who she was talking to on Baca, but it was like, "Hey, move this over here, move this over here." Obviously, having that tandem, but at the time, like it's 9-6. So it does make sense as far as like everybody knew a merge situation was happening soon. Not necessarily the merge, because this is the terminology that me and you will discuss later tonight. But they knew it was all coming to a head, so knocking that one off, getting it to 5, 5, and 4, making sure that you know, two tribes didn't go to 4 and 4 and 6, like that's a big numbers advantage if you were to go from 3 to 2 tribes, which they eventually ended up doing. So it's a lot of metaing, but genuinely it makes sense in the form of the game.
Yeah, no, I don't think that it was a. Again, based on numbers wise, I don't think it was a bad move. I just think that you could be revealing cards that you don't have as
Yeah.
far as allegiances. And in that particular instance, it could be dangerous because, yeah, you might be helping out the other weaker tribe, but you have no reason to believe that they still are going to be aligned with you. So, in
Right.
general, it was an interesting move, and it was an entertaining one to watch them play out. I don't know that it was the smartest just based on that alone, but there's a lot of other components to that, and it is kind of a risk reward. I just feel like you're risking something without knowing what the stakes are. Personally,
Yeah.
that's
Agreed.
if you, I feel like if you're gonna play risky, which is totally fine, you at least got to know what the stakes are that you're getting into. So that for me was kind of the biggest thing. Um,
Yep.
Crazy Man says I really don't like Mr. Island. What? How do you feel about that? I have a.
So 2 seasons ago, or in season 41, I liked it a lot because that was the season where alliances were being formed from other tribes at Mystery Island.
Mhm.
This season, and honestly in season 42, there's not as much focus on that. There could be 100% like, hey, we'll take you to the end, and it never like formulates, so they don't
Mhm.
show it. That's a lot of times, like a lot of the former castaways say like, hey, I had alliances with like 3 other people that they never showed on screen.
Mhm.
And that is a big part of the mystery of Survivor.
Yeah.
I do like the Mystery Island. Just generic terms. I like Mystery Island. I wish that everyone had a chance to get advantages as opposed to only the people that go to the island get the chance for an advantage, because it feels like now there's one hidden immunity idol at camp and no other advantages. Where other than yesterday's episode, but genuinely, like, that doesn't happen all the time and they're
Mhm.
sporadic. Whereas in the past, it feels like they would go hunting for hours and hours and
Yeah.
hours and then eventually find one. And it doesn't change the complexity of the game, but there needs to be a little bit more out there than what's out there right now. I only count 5 that are out there currently, and there's 12 players as of right now.
Yeah.
So and before that was 13. I do feel like there needs to be at least one, maybe 2 more advantages out there, even if they're on the same person. I know you're a purist. I know you're a purist,
I am.
but genuinely, even if they're small advantages, a block a vote, a steal a vote, a extra vote, things of that nature, there shouldn't be the same advantages out there at all times, and I really feel like they're pushing this beware advantage a
Yeah.
little aggressively right now, and I don't like. I like the beware advantage, but I don't like that they're pushing it so much, because literally that was the last advantage, and then sorry, I'm
No, you're
going down
fine.
a rabbit hole,
No,
but
you're
I,
good.
I don't like how much they're pushing this beware advantage, as much as they've pushed like the shot in the dark. Shot in the dark is fantastic. Like it's a great concept if executed properly, and it's
Yeah.
a true shot in the dark.
We still haven't seen it. That's why I like it so much is because it's a shot in the dark. We still have not seen it come to fruition the way someone using it would want it to.
Yep.
No, I have to disagree with most of it because, and it's not even so much that I would say it's because I'm a purist, because I am. It's because I don't like so many advantages running rampant that a player has completely loses ability to control their own game. I like having the ability to. I want a player to go in and have at least an option of getting out of a situation. Now it might be a Hail Mary, and yeah, I mean we have the shot in the dark, and honestly, I when I started thinking about it, I honestly think the shot in the dark exists because of how many advantages there are.
Needs to
But
be more.
yeah, but I mean, here's the thing: we've seen a a visualization of this or a manifestation of this where the last time Suri played, she was not voted out. She was out by default.
You bring up the one time that advantages ruled a tribal council.
But all it takes is
90
that one. All it takes is that one because
right.
you give yourself the potential for that to happen again. And that's where I'm
Okay,
like,
but
that is a broken mechanic where someone gets voted out by the tribe not voting them out. And no one actually
I
saying, I
I
want
agree
that
with
person
that.
out.
Okay, 100% agree with that. I don't think there should be as many uh, idols in play. I want more advantages in play. I want things to alter the votes. I want things to modify voting, block someone's ability to vote, like things of that nature that doesn't immediately say, "Oh, I'm safe. I'm done." Like there needs to be a level of strategy to it that kind of like Russell Hance the year that like he had one idol and then he didn't play it correctly. Okay, well, I'm going to play another one
Mhm.
and just happen to play it at the perfect time where it shifts 7 people voting for him and those big ones that like shift the entire game. We haven't seen that so much with advantages. And the reason why is because we don't have advantages that can like stack, like steal a vote, extra vote, things of that nature where you can swing, a 5-person alliance against a 9-person alliance or something like that. Where what we had tonight where it was a 6-4, no, it was a 6, oh, goodness, what was the numbers? It was 6-6 the final tally.
Mhm.
But genuinely, like if there was a team of 2 that wanted to just shift everything around and go, okay, I'm going to steal yours, I'm going to block yours, I'm going to shift this in their favor to where a group of 2 can now become a group of 6 or 7.
I do like them having a potential for a very small minority to be able to have a chance at outshooting.
Yeah.
I just feel like, and honestly, I don't have the answer. Like I haven't really put much thought into it, but
The game is
I just,
fantastic.
yeah, I don't. I'm not a fan of all the advantages because, and again, I'm the opposite. I like having more idols. But that's
Oh,
just, yeah, I like having more of the idols than all the other advantages. There's a couple of them that I don't mind. I like having an extra vote thrown in there occasionally. That's one advantage I like, but I personally don't want it to see stack because then it's like, okay, well, this one person has like 5 votes, and more often than not, by chance, more often than not, it usually ends up helping the larger alliance versus the minority alliance. Not always, but I feel like
but it's
statistically it does go that way more often.
I
That's just
agree,
me.
but I think the reason that they're in the bigger alliance is because they play harder. The people
Hmm.
who are great at this game know how to manipulate, and we see that tonight. I do want to get into tonight's stuff because
Yeah,
there's some really good stuff that happened in the challenge in particular. But I'll let you start off with Ellie
yeah,
getting voted out and Janine coming back and talking about
yeah.
that.
So let's see, where do we get to? I'll say one other thing about the Mr. Allen thing. The
Oh
one other
yeah,
thing I
yeah,
wanted to mention is that the biggest reason I actually like the risk versus reward. I like that if you're trying to go for something like that, you have to risk
yep,
in order
agree.
to get a reward. I do like that. That's why I like the shot in the dark. The only issue I have, and again, I have a feeling based on some of the other stuff you might disagree, but I feel like because I don't like power getting taken away from the players too much, whether or not they themselves possess the ability to influence and make those changes, that's a whole nother story. But I at
Yeah,
least like if someone does have that ability to at least have the possibility to do that.
yeah.
Um, Whenever they're getting forced out there, and this is kind of a survivor thing. Like it's happened throughout all of the seasons, so I get it. But I feel like it's kind of reinforced with this twist a little more. Is that whenever you're involuntarily being selected to go, it does not matter whether or not you come back with something or don't. It does not matter whether you risk something or don't. And it does not matter whether you tell the truth or lie. You're in a position where most of the time they're not going to believe what you say. And that's the biggest thing for me is I hate that you're getting forced into a position where if you go to tribal, you are the easy vote. If you're going to be the easy vote, I want you to put yourself in that position. So that's the biggest reason why I don't like it. But anyway,
I think Crazy Matt is on your side. I think you said there's too many idols and too many advantages.
I think so.
I disagree, but okay.
I think so. But yeah, so we come back and we'll just kind of speed run through a lot of this because the majority of tonight's episode was taken up by the challenge, and we'll get to that. Different opinions. I'll just say I enjoyed watching the challenge. I'll say that much. But we come back from last week, and Janine is pretty upset because she had no idea what was going on. Pretty big staple. She's at the bottom. She didn't know she was at the bottom.
But she could have played an idol to save Ellie. Ellie knew it was coming, and she still didn't play it, which is just, it boggles my mind. But I understand in the moment, like, hey, you can't save everybody. Like, it's going to happen. But still, like, Janine did a really good job of basically going to every single person and being like, hey, we're good, right? Like, it allows me to play my game.
Yep. So we hear from her. Gabler starts talking about how his advantage is nullified, and Owen mentions he's scared of Gabler. And I will say, spoiler alert, but after tonight, I would be too. I still feel like, from an editing perspective, I feel like we still might have a chance at him getting taken out by something beyond his control. But I also feel like I'm starting to feel like that might have been a bit of a red herring. But if it was actively going on, then, I can see that. But they get tree mail, and everyone's expecting we're going to paint our flag, we're going to kumbaya, we're going to have fun, tribe's going to come together.
Actually make the merge
make the merge. And that's one other thing we'll say about, I wanted to mention about last week, is that I actually really liked how they did the fighting for the merge this time. I don't know about you. That was the biggest thing I actually wanted to mention. That starting to remember. I know we're kind of rambling a little bit, but or getting off topic a bit. But I actually like how they did it this time, where they didn't have the hourglass thing, where all this weird stuff's going on, but you still have to earn it, and I'm actually okay with that. I actually really like that extra aspect. But and you're not, so I'm assuming you agree. So we'll just leave it at that for now. But yeah, tree mail comes and they think they're actually making the merge. They get to design their own flag. They get to kumbaya and everything. And turns out that that's not what they're doing. They are pairing up. Now, they end up. A bunch of people
they went to rocks. We finally have an episode. They went to rocks.
It's true.
Not in the way we think.
Not in the way we think, and because they say they're having difficulty. Determining and listen, as the purist, as the person that always says, give them the most control of their own decision making. Even I, personally, and I don't know, I'm sure I'm probably in the minority with this one too, but even I am like, a part of me kind of wishes that they kind of told them, hey, you have to kind of pick someone and not do the rocks thing, because I feel like it didn't necessarily have to reveal their alliance, but I feel like it kind of would throw just an extra bit of a wrench in there, that it's not one-sided. It's not that just one person had to do it and not everyone, but everyone's kind of having to be like, pick someone and at least kind of establish something. So for me, I'm fine with them doing it. I just kind of wish that they had force them to at least have a little bit more, because I feel like that was a really easy way out, because I feel like they were really trying to set something like that up, and I didn't see them give them rocks. I just saw them have rocks, and they said
they painted.
They went. Yes, they painted their own rocks. So honestly, I think production was kind of a little bit surprised too whenever they decided to do that, because they're like, oh yeah, we just painted rocks, just like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like they really were trying to set something up to have some type of like
This
definitive.
this season has been so kumbaya, and this season has been so like, as you'll see in the freaking challenge, it's been so like, oh my god, we're human beings. We're such
That's
good
been,
people. We
and
have
that's
such good
been,
empathy.
and that's why I
And
said, yeah,
yeah, I don't necessarily. There are game players that are doing good stuff that you will that like if you're not paying attention, you'll miss.
mm-hmm.
And genuinely, like, even in some of the confessionals during that time, is like, oh, there was like 5 seconds of like, maybe I want to, maybe I don't want to like pick who I'm gonna go with, and then we decided to go to rocks. That is
Yeah,
a gameplay. Like that
it
is
is.
just being like, all right, I'll be diplomatic. I won't make a fuss about
It
it. That
is,
is a
but it's the
play.
easy way out. It's
100%.
it's it's
Don't
the easy
disagree.
way out, and that's why I kind of wish they were kind of forced to not take the easy way out. I agree. I don't know if it was. I can't remember if I said something to you. I know I said it on stream at some point, but Jeff has gotten so much because he talks about how much he loves the social experiment of it, and that's why he does. And we all do, but there almost every no every single not almost every single episode for the last like 10 seasons has been him stopping in the middle of the drama. Jeff used to be so savage. Like he used to rip into people and he still shows that from time to time, but he used to like really claw into people and call people out for being stupid. Like you felt that Jeff was the boss. He
Yeah.
was in charge. And now, yeah, now he's just like another guy out there who's just kind of annoys everyone whenever he calls a couple things out during the challenge. Whenever he says you're falling behind. That's
Thank you,
literally all he does
Jeffrey.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all he does now. That's the only bit of sass. Like there are several different compilations on YouTube of Jeff being the sass master, and we don't get that anymore. All we get now is this is why I love all of this challenge, this show, this competitions because it brings so many people together and yeah, we get that. That's why we're watching. It's like you're breaking the fourth wall. Like
Yeah, a little
stop. We
bit.
get
I agree.
it.
I agree.
We get it. We get it. Now I will say, and it was done too much. The way we got it tonight, I was okay with because of the kind of circumstance, right? The moment when and it's gonna sound like Cerie's my favorite player. She's not. I like Cerie, but she's not my favorite player. But the moment again, the last time she played, when she couldn't finish that competition initially, the competition was over, and everyone was like, "No, if you want to do it, we will wait.
Keep
Go
going.
ahead."
Keep
Yes,
going. Yeah.
those rare moments where it's like something really big, like that's cool, that's fine. But it's just like you're trying to force those options every single
Yeah.
episode, where it's like,
This episode felt very, very forced.
yeah, I get it. Like she ditched her leg. I mean, we're jumping ahead, but it's fine. She ditched her leg, and then
Hold on.
you want
We
to
gotta
okay,
get into
okay,
this.
all right, all
I
right, all right.
want in this challenge
Okay,
because
we're gonna get to it. Okay, we'll get to that. But as far as the whole kumbaya, like it's too much. It's way too much,
Agreed.
and you know,
Agreed.
I won't get ahead, but I get where it was coming from this time. I do understand that, and I didn't mind it necessarily. I did. Again, not to jump too ahead, but in relation, I kind of thought it was interesting the way we had kind of a break in the challenge that we don't normally get.
yeah, commercial break in the middle of a challenge.
Not the commercial break, but kind of like just the fact that they kind of paused during the challenge because it was in different stages. Kind of almost felt like a relay race the way they did it, and I was fine with that. I thought it was interesting to say the least, but it's just too much. It's just way too much. We're watching this for the social experiment, yes, but we're also watching this to see what people actually do. And these people are trying to be cutthroat. They're trying to play a game, and you're trying to It's almost like people go into these games and they're like, okay, I can lie, cheat, steal, whatever, because it's not real life. It's a game. And I agree. I'm like, if you go into this game, have fun with it, do whatever you got to do to win. You know, don't kill no one, but you know, for the most part, do whatever you got to do to win. Whether or not it's a good move, whether or not it's something that I think you should do or not, you should at least do what you think you should do. But then that just keeps getting undone every time we hear the moment something like this comes up. Jeff has to reel it back in. This is what I love about this game. Okay, we get it. You've been saying it for 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah. No,
And
100%
just
agree.
frustrates me.
Happens like 3 times in the challenge, and it's just it's gross. But let's get into
Imagine. I
because
know. It's just.
genuinely,
I know. I know. It's just. It feels like if you were watching an NFL game and every time an opposing player like gave a hand to the other player on the other team that they're probably actually friends with in real life and just helps them up. If everyone just stopped and they're like, see, this is what's beautiful about humanity is we all get to come together and we get to love each other, and even when we're on,
agreed,
I'm tired of it.
agreed.
Anyway, but yeah, so we get to the challenge, and I like how everyone says he asks, is everyone happy with their pairs? And they're like, oh yeah, sure, great. Like who's gonna say no? Who's gonna be
Yeah.
like, dude, my pair sucks. Like this dude is
Like,
dude's
come on,
trash.
I got the girl with one leg, or I mean, I got the person who finishes last in every challenge. Like,
I got the
no,
old dude.
yeah, like, what are
Yeah.
you gonna do?
So
With
I
that?
thought that was funny.
The challenge was so. I was afraid of this challenge, and I am not afraid of a lot of challenges. This one scared me, and if
Yeah,
you've
I'm
seen
gonna
it,
let you take the reins here because you're chomping at the bit for the
I
challenge.
love
So I'm gonna
this.
let you
This
go over
challenge genuinely scares me because this first part is
the net.
it's scary. The net. Oh my god. It makes me itch because genuinely it was bad. So the first part of the challenge is you go into a twisted net. You're able to crawl so far and then you have to rotate your body while also being in this caked in mud that's weighing you down while also just I mean it's caked onto you and it looks like you are suffocating in this
And
stuff.
I was slightly distracted watching it, but I did not realize how much the mud was influencing it until a
The
little bit
end.
later on.
Yeah. Until the
I
end of
want
it.
to comment once we get to the result of that part, but keep going.
The pairs. Okay, this was a big part. The pairs were James and Ryan, Sammy Noel, Mike Owen, Cody Dwight, Cassidy and Carla, and Jesse and Janine. Okay, the big thing that I wanted to focus on is everybody gets their starting point, and you can see who is naturally just bad at this, which there's no way of really being good at it. But I mean, like, there's no way to practice for this at home. Like, there are several games
It's
that
not
I
like
can.
there's any professional athletic anything that's going to compare to this. I mean,
Yeah,
the closest
there's
thing I could think of is a swimmer that just spirals underwater, and even that is like nothing. Like
nothing.
the only person that would be good at this that could practice is like a fish that's been caught in a net underwater.
Genuinely.
And yeah, keep going.
No. So that was the you could definitely see who was doing good. Ryan blitzed through this. Okay, Ryan did really good. The first one out. Hold on, I didn't actually write this down, but I'm pretty sure it was Cassidy because they were yes, it was Cassidy. Cassidy led the challenge at the very beginning, and then Carla kind of took her time to try and get out of it. After that, Sammy came out really quick. Owen came out right after that, and then Dwight did really quick. The big thing that I wanted to focus on, and this is what I was saying about there are game players in this game that you are not realizing are happening. Okay? If you go back to this challenge and you go and look at Ryan, Ryan was the first one to get to the sand because James did also really good because it was a relay race where both of them had to go through. They have to go to now a sand pit and dig up puzzle pieces. Okay? There were two things that I noticed. Ryan started kicking the sand over into his opponent's side of the challenge. That is meta gameplay. Something that is not said you cannot do, and something that is very much like, oh, like it's happening. And then later on in the challenge, you actually see Ryan as I think it was Carla and Cassidy are like trying to get stuff up. Ryan is actively pushing sand in their way, just more and more kind of giving that little nudge like that I love that gameplay. It's so simple, but it's something so important to giving yourself just a little bit more edge, and no one's going to take offense. You're trying to win a game. But genuinely, it's one of those game players that I'm like, okay, I'm starting to notice you now. And then so they're the ones that end up getting their puzzle pieces first. You had to dig them out of the sand, bring them over, and this was the first part of the relay race. Ryan and James make it out first. I believe Cody and Dwight make it out second. Mike and Owen make it out third. And then this was another one that I kind of saw that was a little bit of a meta gameplay because I believe it was Carla and Cassidy got out last. No. Actually, so sorry. This was the one. Cassidy and Carla got out third. And then Cody and Dwight were the last ones. Dwight actually takes time while he's digging, and you can see him trying to undo knots at the physical challenge.
I didn't notice that.
That's another one that I was like, oh, okay, like we're getting a little bit more gameplay because the next challenge is go up a wall, untie your sandbags, untie your what are those called? Just the little planks, and then go to the other side with all of them. And like that time, we saw somebody like trying to bite into them.
Yeah.
Like if it makes it just that much easier, like just get a little, dude. You're the last one in the challenge, and nobody else was anywhere close. We saw that Noelle was stuck in that mud at the end of this challenge, and Janine was stuck in that mud, that very, very thick mud. I'll let you touch on this part because you were.
Yeah, no. Well, the first I will say, because you're talking about Dwight was already starting to undo the knots for the next part of the relay. Is that what you're saying? See, that particularly I feel like is a little cheaty. I feel like that does kind of break the rules a little bit.
Can't say it can't be done.
I don't know. I feel like if they're saying this stage starts here and then that stage starts here, I feel like that's kind of saying, I mean, if he did it and it didn't get caught, then, I mean, listen, I'm not saying it's the right way to go or not, but the people that don't play fair are the people that get ahead in life. So
I'm with Matt on this one. It's for $1 million.
Yeah,
it needs to be a little bit more dicey, a little bit more.
No, 100%. Straight up cheating. I don't know, but like I said, I will say, in general, the people that don't play by the rules 100% are usually the ones that get ahead in life. So if you're I'm not going to say much more about that. That's what I'll leave it there. I think you know what I'm saying. Anyway, the only thing I will say is, now correct me if I'm wrong, we only had 2 people that didn't make it out of that net, right?
Janine and Noelle.
We had 10 people do that. 10. I want to say something about the 2 that didn't. But the fact that we had 10 just at all be able to get through that, insanely impressive, in my opinion. The fact, because I couldn't do that. No. My fat butt could not get through that and untwist that at all,
But I mean, we did see that James, the biggest guy there, he went through it quick.
Yep.
That dude threw his weight around and got through that thing quick. Yep. So maybe weight helps. We may be pros.
Yeah. I don't know, but because I mean the 2 that didn't get through were not, I mean, Noelle, she's not big. She's got some muscle, but she's still not big. So, not a ton of weight on her. So that could help. But I mean, really, again, like we were talking about earlier, there's not much more to comment on. I do think I fully expected, especially from Noelle, the way she was acting, I thought she was going to start getting claustrophobic. Like whenever Jeff was like, all right, go, help him now. I thought it was because they were like, she felt like, at least to me, and I don't know, again, I mean, I can be kind of claustrophobic personally, so I get it. I definitely do. From a just watching perspective, I don't know that I would be in that specific instance. But because it's like, it's not like you're that restrained, you're going to get out, but I could definitely get it, especially for her because she's like has part of her leg gone and all. It's a mess. And I don't like giving anyone extra help, like especially like, hey, you have something that kind of it is a disability. I hate calling it a disability. She's got an extra thing like that. You're going on to the show. That's an aspect you have to deal with that the other players won't. But I do personally like after she was out, I was like, can we at least like get her some water to rinse the boot out of? I was like, I get it. We don't want to be extra help, but like, can we at least rinse her like the cut? Like, I don't feel like the actual hardware it would be good for that to be like that muddy
Gotta be
and
a part of
corroded.
it. It's gotta
It
be a
is.
part.
I get it. I get it 100%. I'm just like, oh, but you know, whatever. But yeah, I fully like the way she was acting, and Janine was too. But Noelle, I feel like was really like having a very tough time, and maybe because we saw. I mean, like we already talked about, we saw the impact that had on her. She felt really bad for Sammy, and I will say this: the way Sammy handled that, great. I mean, he wasn't upset. I mean, he probably was, but he was like, I didn't even need to. I didn't even want to hold Soup Bucket anyway. Like, it's
Yep.
not a big deal. Like, don't stress about it. You've already lost. You're not going to win anything by being like, I mean, I really wanted that immunity. I'm really not doing very good, but you know, it's fine. Don't worry. Like, you're not gonna win any favors. Like and again, we've commented a lot on, or at least I have, how he is very smart and he is very good, but he does reveal his age a lot, and I feel like he really showed his maturity in that aspect because he was like, listen, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. We lost. It's over. And there's no reason to beat yourself up about it. And we didn't see it come up at all. He didn't mention anything about it after. So I was really impressed by that.
You
And
can't be mad.
you can't.
Unfortunately, you're millions of people watch the show. You physically are not allowed to get mad.
I agree. I feel like it does kind of go along the same lines, though, of like what I just said about rinsing the boot out. You're going
Yeah.
in, have this extra thing. So and I agree because I'm kind of in the mindset of can we at least rinse her boot out? But at the same time, I also feel like it would look, it would not be a good look if he did.
No.
But
And this is
he
this
could
is this.
have, he could have, and it would have been a natural human emotion response, and he didn't, and he was like, it's over, it doesn't matter, and I feel like even though he could have, and it would not have been a good look, it really helped him by showing his maturity and showing not dogging on it because that could have been had he done that they could have been like man he was really dogging on her for no reason and that could have put him in the limelight. So
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
I think that was handled really well.
This is the unfortunate part of Noelle, and I've said it from the very beginning. She needs to be one of the first people out, and like other people who are amputees in the past, normally they are. If she makes it to the end, she wins. There's it's a get out of jail free
It is.
card. It's the from 2 years ago. Like, oh man, we haven't had a winner or a female winner in a long time. Like, hey, if you make it to the final three, you win. Like, if she makes it to the final three, which I really don't think she will,
I don't think she
but
will.
if she, I at some point, I mean, it's a kumbaya season. It really is a kumbaya season if she wins, because literally they're just not seeing the value in that. But genuinely, like, if she gets to the end, she wins. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say this. I will say this, and this is going to sound very not great. I agree. Is it fair? No.
No.
And it's not even fair to her because I feel like most people and there are some. I'm not by no, I want a big disclaimer. By no means am I saying this about her or anyone specific in general. I feel like there are potentially some people that have, whether it be that specific situation or we've seen other examples where people have some type of story, something that affected them that happened like that, kind of in the same vein. And I do feel like we've seen it, and I do feel like it's a potential where people go in ready to use it. Um, I'll just say this: the only example I can give is, and it's not, it's kind of weird, so bear with me. Big Brother in season 12, there was a guy who went on and said, "My wife has cancer." Oh, can you not hear me?
No. I can
Hello?
hear you.
Okay, sorry.
No.
Sorry.
I can hear you. I'm just paying attention because I'm on season 3 now,
Oh,
and
are you?
so
Okay.
like I'm trying to listen to who this person
Well,
is.
season 12, and you'll he mentions it right away. He goes in talking about how this guy goes in talking about how his wife has cancer, and he's playing for her, all that fun stuff. She didn't have cancer. He made it up.
Johnny
And
Fairplay, grandma dies. Like,
yes. So we've seen people who haven't even had that who have gone into it. Now, there's a big difference in someone who's claiming to have something like that going on versus someone who does, and I get it. But there is a potential where someone goes into that with that saying, well, yeah, I'm going to use it. I mean, if I had an extra reason, when you're talking about $1 million, I'm going to try and play into that. I want the money, I'm not, but you do whatever you have to do to win. So I'm not saying that's what Noel has any intention of doing or is doing. I'm not saying anyone specifically that we've seen that's actually had something going on like that has, but there is that possibility. So
she is the only one who physically has had a target on her since day one.
Yes.
For no other reason.
Yes.
So
I do feel like people have, like, legitimately people have targeted her, and it's been for good. It's not been for anything like that. It's been for accurate reason. If she did get to the end,
she wins.
And we're talking, well, she does.
I'd vote for it.
Yes, but here's what I'm saying. If she did get to the end, assuming there was no other reason for her to win besides that, a part of me would like to at least see her get to there and not win. Because I feel like that could at least show people in the future, hey, just because, there's this extra component doesn't mean we can't give it to the best game player if they're not the best game player. That's all I'm saying. I agree 100%. I do not think that there is any or much of a chance that if she gets there, she would have to do some.
I wish that 100%. It's not realistic.
No, it's not realistic. It's not going to happen. If that were to be what would happen, assuming she doesn't deserve it on all the other merits. I mean, if she gets there and she actually deserves it, well, yeah, give it to her. But if she didn't, I would just like to see us be able to see in one of these types of shows where that type of person, I don't want to say that, where someone in that type of position doesn't get it just because of that. Again, there's been people who have been in that type of position and have gotten it for other reasons beyond that. But we're going too far into this. But it's one of those things where it does have that big of an effect on the game where it's no matter what, you're in an unfortunate position. And if you're the group that gets her out, then you're kind of looked at bad, and so it's really unfortunate. But
1,000% disagree with that, and I'll
really?
end on this.
You think so?
If you are the group that gets her out, you are doing everyone else a favor.
Oh, in the game, for sure.
In the game, because it's one of those things, like a Johnny Fairplay, the year that his grandma died, quote unquote. If he makes it to the final three, and that's why he was voted out, I think at the 5, was because like everybody saw that. They're like, oh my god, like his grandma died, like he's gonna use that in the final 3. We can't let him get there. Like stuff like
I respect that personally. There's always in Survivor Big Brother, all these shows, you go into it, interviews, there's always a big question. Would you rather lose and be loved by America or win and be hated? For me, give me the money and let everyone hate me.
Win and be hated.
I wouldn't and that's my mindset entirely. I would want to be hated because, like, not for, like, actually being a hateful person in that degree. And so that's the only thing for me is I know even most people that don't care about being hated, most people don't want to be hated for something like that, and I get it. But I would like there to be a precedent for it doesn't have to be that way. We can still respectfully understand that everyone's here going to play, and I get you. It's hard to not give it to that person, but I'm still going to take care of my family too. So that it's a long-winded conversation. It's not an easy one.
First part of the challenge.
Yeah, it was. So let's get through to the rest. The second part wasn't as long, so it's not going to be that difficult. But I'll let you go over it. There was basically maybe 2 points that I had from it that I really wanted to talk about. I'll let you go over the rest of it.
Okay. The big ones for me were it was the rope bridge part. You have to do the 3 steps.
Yes.
I have something similar in my Survivor Day that you have
Yep.
played,
Yep.
and it's the exact same concept except for we don't have rope bridges. We do it over 4 planks that are elevated, and you have to move them between 3
Yep.
people and 3
Yep.
planks. So
Yes.
it's yeah, very similar to that game. Very much based off of something, based off of obviously Survivor.
Have we? I can't remember. Have we seen? Because I know we've seen this type of challenge several times before. Have we seen this type of challenge where it was multiple people sharing the same
Yes.
bridge? I couldn't remember if we had it.
It wasn't a rope bridge. It wasn't this physical one, but like the one that I've created where it's the planks and you have to move them. They've done that before. They haven't done it across a rope bridge.
Well, I was trying to give you some points for originality and creativity, but can't do that.
I am a Survivor-based,
hey, listen. One of my favorite all-time Survivor comps is still an original by you that everyone that's played loves. And if they did it in the comp, I think it would be great. It's the slingshot.
Oh yeah,
slingshot. We'll get into that later. we'll talk about that another time, but it's fun. It's a fun one. But yeah. So is that all you had for the rope bridge specifically?
Well, no. So the teams that make it through, or I mean, more or less, there really wasn't. I mean, let me see here. It was Dwight and Cody blitz through it, absolutely just destroy everybody up by a country mile, and then it came down to Cassidy and Carla, Mike. Yes, Mike and Owen and Ryan and James, and I'll let you take it from there because it seems like you wanted to kind of.
Really, the only point is first off, I was a little impressed with Gabler in this. I feel in my notes I said for someone of his age, he's stronger than I would expect, and he's not like he does physical stuff for a living. And to my knowledge, I could be completely wrong about this. And I know it's slightly skipping ahead. I do just want to ask this since I'm thinking about it. Did we see that he was never involved in the army of any capacity himself, right?
Okay.
Those pictures they were showing were very misleading.
Yeah, very much so.
They were very kind of misleading because I couldn't quite. Sorry, I got some background noise. But I couldn't quite tell because that kind of looks like him. And again, it's his family.
A little bit. Yeah.
So, but the way he was talking about, he very much said my parents, sir, but it was almost like he was talking about himself as a younger person. So I was a little bit confused about that because I was trying to figure out, are those pictures of him or not, just because I was curious. But
we can genuinely get to that because genuinely at the end of this challenge is a real nail biter to the very end.
It was.
They got to the final platform. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say because we got to that, and then my notes of Gabler is pretty strong for an older guy. Is reinforced later, but we'll cover that. But the biggest takeaway I had from this stage of the challenge is Ryan is so hot-headed.
No, I'm the exact opposite.
I feel like in that moment,
really?
The challenge was over. Now, if it was during the challenge, I still would say it needs to be handled. I still feel like you got to handle it differently.
Did you see what he did though?
But the point was, it doesn't. I personally feel like once the challenge is over, sitting there and berating your partner once it's done, when you have no tie to that dude from now on, right? I mean, that guy can easily. I feel like you are putting yourself in a bad position because. And we didn't actually get a response from James from it. Spoiler alert, but it never came up. I fully expected that to actually come up later, and it didn't. But I don't feel like that is a very good move to, after the competition is over, to be like, man, you messed that up. What were you doing? You should have been giving me doing that.
He did.
He might have. He might have.
Hold on. Did you see what he did? Did you see the actual moment, what he was doing?
I didn't. I gotta confess. I missed the actual part.
So he had 2 steps, okay?
I did see that they were struggling trying to to
Ryan
balance
had to
together.
go get one, okay? And as he's going to grab one, James is like, come on, we got to go down this slide. And
Mhm.
it's like, no, if you just help me for an extra 30 seconds, they win that challenge. And it was just like when I watched it I watched the episode twice. Like I had to. I watched the first time. I'm like, I was kind of on your side. Like, why did he berate him? And that second time, as I like paid attention to it, I was like, oh snap, that's a huge deal. Like, I would be pissed if James did that to me, and I wouldn't. I
And it's listen. I'm not saying he's wrong to be frustrated, 100%. But you can't, because if it comes down to in the future, or even that night, if it happened, where uh, there's some decision making going on, and James is like, I don't appreciate the way that guy just trashed me, whether it was justified, and whether James realizes whether or not it's justified. That's not the point. The point is that is
berate.
perceived as he is coming at me. He's got no reason to. The competition was over, and he just starts dogging on me in general, on top of like he was doing it in front of everyone, like there's no need for that. So I feel like that was still, whether or not it was justified, it was still pretty hot headed to, after the competition or the challenge is over, for him to like just be like, what are you doing? Like, you messed me up.
Yeah.
He might have a reason to, but I don't feel like that's going to be. It's a good move for him, because it's not doing him any favors. Because even if other people, most of the other people in that were there, most of the other contestants were not paying attention to that. They're focused on their own stuff, and even the
Yeah.
people that were already out may not have fully seen that. So all they're seeing is, well, Ryan was just chewing James out for no reason. He can't even explain himself. But we've already seen Ryan is not that reliable whenever he's coming up with stuff. I mean, that was another thing that from a couple weeks ago, where he was telling people, oh yeah, tell everyone it's me. He almost got himself out from that. Like,
Yeah.
so I am not, when I saw that, I was reminded of how poorly he handled that a couple weeks ago. And I'm very much unimpressed with Ryan up to this point. I didn't want to
Yeah.
be. I wanted to be.
Gio was the one that we forgot about.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Gio was.
That's from that tribal council.
Yes. Yes. Because he was like, tell everyone, put the votes on me. And then everyone's like, well, maybe we should. He's that
Yep.
confident. He's got all this other going on. So I'm not very impressed. And had all of that not gone on, I might feel differently about this. But I feel
Okay.
like with that on top of that, I'm not saying I would. I probably wouldn't, but I might. But having that already happen, I just feel like he's really not doing himself any favors, and I'm not very impressed with him to this point. That could
Yep.
change, who knows? But I feel like he's been digging himself a hole. Anyway, all right, let's get going. So, did you have anything else from the rope bridge you wanted to talk about?
No, just the fact that Mike did a barrel roll. That was
He did.
fantastic. The Gabriel roll. I can't say it correctly, but the barrel roll from Gabler
Gabe
was
Barrel.
Yes, exactly. Fantastic. No, I mean, the people who ended up moving on was Mike, was Owen, was Cody, and was Dwight.
All right. So we get to the part 4, and personally, yeah, part 3. Sorry, I was thinking of final 4. We get to the final 4 in the part 3. Personally, I feel like we got a little bit more of the Jeff Kumbaya deal, in that everyone tell me what you're doing this for. I was like, we don't need it. Like, it wasn't as bad, but it's just like on top of the other stuff, it's just another, like,
Gabler made it bad.
he did.
Okay, he started making it bad. Okay, because as the challenge physically was, you have to hold on to a bar, and it has 25% of your weight, and you have to physically hold on to it, and it wants to ratchet this way, and you got to kind of, oh, okay, my hands are getting tired. Okay, it tears up your hands. I've seen nasty pictures of like the scarring that happens
Oh
on
yeah.
those. But yeah, I'll let you get into that, because genuinely, all they just had to sit there and wait, and it's a very, very intense challenge.
Oh, it is. There's only a couple things that I really had, talking points on. I was it was kind of sad listening to Owen be like, "This is my dream since I was a kid," and then was he
Immediately
the
get out.
first? No, he was
Immediately.
second. Dwight was first, wasn't he? Dwight was
Oh
first.
yes, you are right.
Dwight was first. But yeah, just immediately just be like, oh, so rough. I I was very impressed with. I liked hearing Cody stuff. Again, I'm a big Cody fan, but I liked hearing how he was like, man, I choked way back in the day.
Wrestling in
Wrestling
1994, like
1994. This is my redemption. This is my redemption for that one time in high school when I lost. But anyway,
and Gabler when he was going minute by minute because this is a very intense challenge.
I will say, Jeff provoked this. Okay, Jeff provoked
100%.
this deal.
100%.
I will say, when I stopped and thought about it, you know what? I actually like, regardless of, we'll get to him vocalizing it. Mentally, I actually like the minute by minute thing where it's like, you know what? Because if I'm like, no, I don't know. Personally, again, I'm not talking about him being vocal about it. I'm just talking about whenever he's like trying to find his motivation, get through. Okay, this one's for so and so. Okay, I'm gonna go another minute and I'm gonna last this long for this person. I actually think that's a pretty good strategy because you could easily tell yourself if you're just fighting for one person or fighting for one reason, just be like, I've given it enough. But if you're trying to give everyone equal time, like that's your way of getting through it. I actually didn't think it was that bad.
Okay, so I will agree up to a point. And the point was, okay, so I'm doing it for this Army veteran. Thank you so much for your service. I'm doing it for Noella. Thank you so much for competing really hard in that challenge. Mm-hmm. Thank you to Idaho.
I know.
What?
I know.
What? This next minute's for Alaska. Oh, I was gonna. And
where's all my Okies at?
Yeah, honestly, I'll give away the ending. Gabler ends up winning the challenge.
Gabler wins.
Okay? Gabler wins. And he says at the very, I could have gone for 51 minutes, Jeff. In the back of my mind, I thought he thought that there were 51 states in the United States. Like, I swear that was the first thing that came to my mind when he said that.
I was thinking, how old is he? Is he 51? Because my mind was thinking he's going for one for every. At that point, he was like, I could have gone for 51 minutes, 1 minute for every year that I'm alive.
He's 52.
Okay. But is that as of Survivor stats, or is that as of current, like, present today?
Okay. It could have been 51.
That could have been 51. It could have been, because that was the first thing that I thought of is maybe he's just going for like 1 minute per year that he's of his age. Whatever. That's fine. But I see where you're going with that. I do. I cannot remember the exact thing that he said, but after he won, he was like, he started saying something else after that, and I'm like, okay, that's way too much. There's no reason when you win, and up front, I was actually happy. I'm really finding myself to like Gabler a lot. I'm very much a Gabler fan. I don't care, whatever. I'm enjoying it. But when I got to that point, I'm like, I don't care. You win, you shut the heck up, because all those other 11 people that lost, they don't care that you won. All they care about is they lost, and whether or not you mean for it to them, you're rubbing it in their face. Okay, it may not be intentional, but that is how they're gonna take it, and they're going to be annoyed to be like, why did he keep going on? I don't care. I don't need to hear about it. And some might say, well, we didn't hear about it tonight. That does not mean that we won't hear about it later on. We could very easily, the next tribal, the one after that, be like, you know what? Gabler's won he won last time, or he's won the last couple, and every time he does, he keeps talking about how great and how happy he is and how wonderful he did and how he could have kept going. You win, you shut up. You don't say another word, because you're only going to piss those other people off because they envy you. They are green with envy.
There are two ways that goes. and luckily it went the correct way. There's
So
Cochran winning.
far,
There's
yeah. Oh, you're
Cochran
talking
winning.
about best. Yeah.
Okay. The way that Cochran wins an immunity challenge, like that's a good way of doing it. And honestly, I think everybody took it that way
I think
from
so.
what we've seen. From what we've seen. And then there's like what was that one season where they're like, oh, it's the final five, it's the final five, like stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that was from season 38 or 39 or something like that.
I'm not saying it's okay, but I feel like when you get down to that final five, final six, like even Jeff is kind of puffing it up. So I get if you're a little bit extra, like, man, it's been such a tough journey. I can't believe I'm here. Like that's a little bit different in my opinion, and I'm open for the argument against it, but that's a little bit different in my opinion. But when you're still like, there's 11 other people looking at you that are envying that necklace just as much as you are celebrating that you have it. It is, you shut up, you get it,
Yep.
and you're done. And maybe you want to try and have some influence on who goes out, maybe, but from that point forward, you just be happy that you're safe this tribal and shut up the rest of the night. So that for me
I
was
don't
what
disagree.
that's what I was saying. I could see where you were talking about earlier when he kept talking, because I'm like, at that point that just adds on.
You know who Gabler reminds me of? And I'm going to, I don't want to continue on this conversation because genuinely, he reminds me of Philip. Pink,
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to
short
say that.
Philip.
I knew you were gonna say that. I was like, I don't know what it is. Who doesn't love Philip? Everyone loves Philip. You don't love Philip?
I don't love Philip.
You don't love Philip?
He
What I was gonna say
made
is,
he made Boston. He made. I don't want to give stuff away. Screw it. You know what? Join us on SK Mike on the Mic, where we do a review of every single season.
oh yeah, don't no,
Eventually.
it's out there. It's out there. You can give away past winners. That's
Okay.
fine.
Philip let Rob win, flat out. Just
Oh,
was like, I'm gonna
100%.
be loyal and true, freaking Boy Scout with a feather in his
Hundred
cap.
percent. 100%.
And then he goes and plays again, plays a good game, but everybody knew he wasn't gonna win, so they get him out at like 5.
Did you ever watch the show Prison Break?
No.
No. So there's this and from what I've heard, it's not too far from the truth, but there's this character in that show because it's set in prison, and this one guy who is he does not enjoy the company of women. I'll just say that, and all the new, especially younger new inmates that come in, he's a little bit older. He always makes them hold his pocket, and he makes them fall around holding his pocket. That's kind of the vibe I always got from Philip with Boston Rob. Is this man is in love with Boston Rob?
And we're canceled. Thank you guys.
That's fine. That's fine. Cancel me all you want.
Oh,
Anyway, but no, Philip, yeah, I
just the same vibe.
he was an
same
entertaining
style.
person, but I do get where you're coming from with that.
Yep.
For sure. Okay, let's get going because we've been going for a while. We gotta get going soon. So let's talk about.
We honestly can skip to tribal council unless there was something that
Okay.
stuck out to you.
No,
about
the only thing that I was like, I thought it was interesting, and it's not even worth talking about because we'll see how it comes up. We didn't see anything in the preview for next week, which I wouldn't say I expected. I kind of expected to at least hear something. We get a lot of people swapping advantages because the only thing we kind of need to address, because it will have a future impact potentially, is James, Ryan, Sammy, and Dwight are all at the well, and they just happen to lift the lid and see a bottle floating in there, and no one wants to claim it. So James is like, I guess I'll I mean, even James, you could tell, was a little bit hesitant. He's like, I don't know, but someone's got to. So he grabs it, he reads a note, and it says, look under the shelter, there's something there. He's like, I'm gonna wait till tribal's over, I'm gonna grab it. And he didn't. He went for it right away. Good move. I do think in that specific position, he should have gone for it because everyone already assumed that he was going to. No one saw him take it, but everyone assumed he was going to. So he goes after it, and immediately Dwight starts telling everyone, "Hey, James has an idol, or has something. We saw wherever he got the clue, and it was under the shelter. So everyone starts scrambling, and they find out that it is a. Well, did they actually specifically find out at that point? I don't know if they did, but they realize that it's a knowledge is power advantage.
Yep.
So everyone starts realizing, okay, we need to swap. We need to swap everything, swap all of our advantages, and if it's just one person doing that, terrible, absolutely terrible. I still don't agree 100% that everyone should have been doing this, but the fact that everyone that had an advantage was doing it, you don't want to be going against the grain in that aspect, so it's kind of tough.
Not everyone.
Was it not? Did I miss one?
It was not everyone. So Noella switched, Janine switched, Cody switched, Carla did not switch.
Carla did not switch
because hers.
No one knows about hers. Though.
No one knows.
Yes, that's right. So
no one knows.
She was actually in a pretty good position where, and we kind of witnessed that last week during the merge, where I can't remember who it was, but someone was going over everyone that had. I think it was Ellie going over everyone that had idols and basically spilling the beans to everyone, and she's just kind of sitting there, just sipping her two pinkies up, like. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. No one knows who's got it at Coco. She's like, oh. So she's in a pretty good position, and she wasn't victim of that. But that is, I'm going to put an asterisk there because everyone else knew about theirs, and everyone else knew that at least someone, knew about theirs, and it could get out. So everyone starts swapping again. I don't think it's the best idea. That whoever I didn't catch who the first person was. Was it Cody? Was Cody? I think Cody was the first person that gave his.
Cody gave his to Jesse.
I get he trusts Jesse. That's awesome. I still wouldn't have done it. I don't feel like it's the best move, but I understand it, and I won't hold his feet to the fire for it.
This is where the gameplay gets really, really fun, and because knowledge of power
100%
is out. Like, you're going to have people that just straight up steal advantages from people. You're going to have people that steal idols from people. You're opening the door to a world where that is going to become more prevalent. Hey, you're giving this to me? Okay, I now have this. I'm going to use this against you. Like, there's a world where maybe not next season, maybe not the season after that, but maybe for season 45, or sorry, season 50. I bet you by season 50, we're going to see a world where knowledge is power comes out. You start seeing people turning on people after they get advantages from them. I see a world where that happens. Hopefully it's me.
Did you hear my headset say anything?
No.
Okay. When I was using the old software, every time it would say something, you could hear it. So my battery's about to die in this, so we gotta check.
Hurry up. Okay.
But anyway, I wasn't the biggest fan of them swapping, but I get it. They really weren't left with much of a choice. But ultimately, we see in Tribal, didn't really need it. James felt pretty comfortable. And was there any major points from Tribal that you specifically wanted to cover yourself?
There's only one, but it's about the final decision. I'll let you go over the
so
home.
Basically, Jesse says he's at a 9. Everyone's pretty comfortable except Sammy. And, I don't traditionally like going against the grain, but I don't mind Sammy being like, I don't know what everyone else is talking about. I'm like at a 2,
Yeah.
I don't, because it doesn't come across the way it normally would. With him, it works. It's not like you're saying, it didn't come across as you're distrusting anyone specifically. He's just like, I don't really know. Like, it could be me, So I think Sammy really played that off well. We'll get it, in the coming episodes, we'll get into it. I'm starting to really like Sammy a lot more. I think he might end up doing better than I even originally expected. So everyone says they're doing pretty good, and we see that it was. I didn't get the exact numbers. I can never keep up with the vote count.
I believe it was
like 6. It wasn't 6-6. It was like a 3-3 and 4?
6-3. No. 6-3-2 is 11. Who am I missing?
6-3-3 because we have 12. I think it was 6-3-3.
6-3-3. Yeah.
It's either
6-3.
6-3-3. Yeah, I think it was 6-3-3. We're gonna go with that 6-3-3, and it was Dwight who ended up.
No. My bad. 6-4-2.
6-4-2.
Six. Yeah, because Jesse and Cody were supposed to put theirs onto that other 2 to make it 4-4-4.
I thought 3 people had at least 3 votes.
No,
I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyway, regardless, Dwight is the one out. With Dwight, there was something that I couldn't quite read about Dwight from the beginning, and he was just so he's very jumpy. I liked him. I thought he was pretty good, but he was very like knee-jerk reaction. He did have a lot of knee-jerk reaction, and I'm never very comfortable with that. But we ended up seeing.
You hear that?
What?
No? Okay.
I hear something.
Yeah. No.
Who's that?
Big. Just a car base driving
okay.
by.
Yeah, I heard it. But so Dwight does end up getting out here. Wasn't what I was expecting. I did actually expect James to be the one to go out after he didn't play his stuff.
Yep.
And so it was a bit of a surprise to me. But you said you had a comment on that.
Yeah, one big thing. So because Janine gave her idol to Dwight, okay, that was one of the things. Normally, if Dwight is voted out, that means her idol is gone. Okay?
Oh.
But if you watch, she physically puts her hand, because Dwight's right behind her, she physically puts her hand in a cup motion like, hey, give it back to me. And they made a very good point to like zoom in on that. And so
I missed that. I will go back and watch that.
Yeah, no, like I said, I watched it twice. So like genuinely, like I paid attention to the itty bitty details this time.
But what was it after the vote was? After it was
while the votes were happening.
Okay.
When they said 5,
I'll allow it. I'll allow it. If he had not fully been said,
voted out yet. Yeah.
Then while the votes were okay. But if that final vote was read and Jeff fully said 7th person,
yep.
No, that's one form of cheating I will not be okay with at all. If that happened.
1,000% agree, because there are so many different times where someone walks out with a hidden immunity idol.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
I will be physically upset if they let that slide.
Yeah.
Physically upset, because genuinely should not happen.
No.
But the way that she put her hand back there, I feel like they're leaving it open for interpretation. Yeah. Like, hey, wait a second. Like, did she just get it back? Like, is she still good?
I mean, it could also be the magical power of editing too, which, I mean, whenever you have, no. I'm not saying. Blatant. I'm just saying potentially it could have been the way that he said, but there's a potential that it happened after and they edited it because they didn't catch it initially. That's just a risk. I mean, that's just something you have to accept. But I will, when it comes to these types of things, I'm always inclined to just kind of believe whatever the edit's going to provide. Unfortunately, I hate the edit. I hate the edit with Survivor and Big Brother, especially Big Brother, because with Big Brother we have the live feed, so we flat out know when the edit's lying to us because we've seen it with our own eyes. But with Survivor, you just kind of got to trust it. So, but I'm definitely tomorrow going to go back and look at that and check that 100%.
Pay attention. There's the 3 things: the Ryan kicking over sand, Dwight untying the bag, and then 100%. Her hand just.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about going into Tribal tonight is I was fully expecting a live tribal. I don't know about you, but I was fully expecting a live tribal. I feel like they've gotten so far out of hand.
I think live tribals are gone.
Really? I'm surprised that we haven't seen it yet. I feel like production initially hated it, and I feel like now they've realized, it brings up stuff. I don't really like it that much. At least with it being, I don't like every single time. The first one we really got, I can never remember the first Rick Devens season. I can never remember what season that was.
Devon's 38.
8, 37 or 38,
Yeah.
one of those two. Um, I loved it. That was one of the first times we got it. Beautiful, wonderful. It was something we had never seen before. Nothing like that. It was awesome. Um, but I feel like we get it. We've gotten it so much that it's like it's time to reel it in. So I was fully expecting it tonight. And you could be right. I don't know. I feel like they like it too much.
Yeah.
It gives good ratings, but I feel like it's overdone because by the time we do end up getting it, it's like we get this every every week. So anyway, all right. So we've come to that time. We have missed the last two. We're not going to bother going back and giving our MVPs for the last week, last couple weeks. But we will give our MVPs for this week. Do you want to still do one guy, one girl, or do you just want to do, since we're at the merge, you just want to do a weekly MVP?
Oh, I have to.
Okay. Because at this point, I'm kind of on the train of just a weekly MVP. That's just me. If you want to do two,
That works.
okay.
No. We can do one
Right.
because I think we're definitely not going to have the same ones considering you completely trashed them. But my MVP is Ryan.
What?
Ryan, my MVP is Ryan. Okay, and don't at me. Ryan is playing this game. He is physically in it. Now it's funny because the last time I did an MVP, it was Lisa, and the very next week she was gone. So let's put this.
I'm not gonna lie. I do think you have a strong chance of that happening again.
I don't disagree, but hear me out here. At the very end of the episode, who was in the majority alliance? Was it Ryan or was it somebody like Owen? Like, I think Owen's in a great spot. I still think he will win the entire game. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Still my MVP for the entirety of it. As of right now, Ryan's in a driver's seat. He's in a position where he's going to be looked as the more muscular threat, but genuinely, like, he's not that good at challenges. So, like, genuinely, like, yeah, he's built big, but he's not that good at them. So
my argument to that is I feel like a good player is not necessarily someone who's not good at challenges, but someone who can win when they need to, but just chooses to show that they're not good. So I don't know. I feel like the ones he's lost have not necessarily been his choice in losing. But that's my opinion. That's a surprising take for me. I gotta say. I'm curious who your other one was.
Cassidy.
Cassie.
She is not.
Okay.
She has not been featured at all. She I feel bad
because I keep forgetting her name because I keep thinking about her and I'm like there's a couple points where I want to mention her and I forget her name.
Yeah, no. She tell you the truth, she's getting no screen time. She's not getting anything like that. And players that get that treatment really have a big showing later in the season.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't disagree with that. I'm not my MVP by any means, but I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
All right. So mine. I gotta
hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on before you say it. Is it Sammy, Gabler, or Cody? Is it one of those three?
No.
Okay. I'm ready.
It would have been Gabler if he had kept his mouth shut. If he had stopped talking and stopped putting himself in that. I love Gabler, but he is got to shut up.
Gabler.
Yeah, he has got to shut up because he is digging himself a deeper grave. Honestly, really, it's Carla still. Crazy called it. She is. Yeah, and Crazy also says Sammy and Cody are playing good games. They are 1,000%. I just feel like for me, Carla, and I get what you're saying about Cassidy. I do feel like more often than not, our successful players, our winners, do usually get at least a little bit more. More often than not, are featured a little more than what she is. That does happen. We have seen that before several times, but it's not as often. But with Carla, I mean, we didn't see a lot of her this week. We didn't see a ton of her last week. But the little bit that we have been seeing, she's very much involved, but she's keeping it to herself. And the fact, like, one of the biggest things for me is that this week, everyone was advantage swapping, and she didn't have to because no one knows. No one knows. No one's onto her at all. Yep. And so overall, I just think she's playing a great game, and I'm very impressed. So,
Carla
all right,
every week.
Like there's no. And every time I surprise myself because I don't go into it thinking, like, I've never gone into this season thinking she was going to be my number one, but she continues to surprise me. She was not my winner pick at all, and I don't know if she'll continue to be my MVP next week. But anyway.
Who's our 2, wasn't she? Like, she was number 2 for us because I said Owen and Carla.
Did you? I can't remember.
And I believe you said
Owen was my winner pick, my overall winner pick. Same I don't know that I still stand by that. Anyway, I got to get going. It's been about an hour and a half. So, any closing thoughts? Anything else you want to say?
I did see that Matt asked me what season of Big Brother. I'm about to start season 3. I just finished season 2. I'm waiting on an upgrade on Paramount Plus because I'm picky about no commercials when I'm binge watching because I can get through several hours at once. So, the old DAC chats, it's been a little stingy recently, and so.
What are you talking about? I do not password share here.
No. I'm using the company. One.
Anyway, it's not like I have any reason to believe that anyone of importance would even come across it. But of all the streams, for anyone like that to come across, it would be the one where you keep saying you're using the company login. Anyway, that's that. All right, guys. I know that it was late, and I know that we've been kind of struggling a little bit, but we're trying to get back on track. And like I said, we're just trying to have fun this season and just kind of see where it sits. But we are so glad that you guys were able to join tonight. Crazy. I'm really glad you were able to pop in. And all you guys that are watching after the fact, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We do try and cover every episode of Survivor. But we have missed a couple here and there, but we hopefully won't. And I explained why last stream, why we just flat out missed the last couple. I had some health issues with my kid, and so that took precedent. But that should be good now. So unless something like that comes up again, we do at least try and cover, even if it's just me and this guy can't make it for whatever reason. I still at least try and jump in myself. But if you are watching after the fact, we keep these up so you guys can watch later on. And if you liked it, hit that like button. It really does help. And if you are new and you want to join us live, hit subscribe and hit the notification bell because you will know. Normally, this one I didn't. Normally, though, I do post these streams a day or two or schedule them a day or two in advance so you guys know and can be prepared to come hang out. And we do normally do them this just right after the episode drops. So hopefully you guys are having fun. As Crazy Matt says, he's here for it. He's been right along for the long haul. He actually wasn't watching Survivor and then came back on this season, started watching again just to hang out with us. So we do have a lot of fun, and the more you guys show up, the more we have to talk about in the chat, and it's just a fun time. So we will see you guys next week. We both plan on being here next Wednesday, right? Plan on being here Wednesday?
All Work schedule, yes.
Yeah. Well, this is your new job, so the one that you're not getting paid for.
Paramount Plus. That's all.
All right, guys. You guys have a good night, and we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, bye-bye.